Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside Ici c'est la France, the Algerian War of Independence 1954 to 1962. It is a game designed by Kim Kanger and published by Legion Wargames. This is the second edition reprint that is now available through Legion Wargames. And, you know, I talked about Legion in other games. I've done Saipan and Tinian, and then I've also got Tonkin as well. And just wanted to show you a couple of the other games that are available because I did speak very highly of them in the last video that I did for Tonkin. And this one here gives you an example of some of the games that are available that came out in 2018 and then more coming out in 2019 as well. Got this along with a really nice little thank you from Randy and Jody from Legion. It's, again, it goes back to what I was saying about the quality of their games and their customer service. They do little things like that I really appreciate, and definitely want to see them get supported very well. Let's see the back of the box and see what this game's all about. It says here, this game covers the insurgency war in Algeria waged by FLN against the French during 1954 to 1962. It is a conflict of great drama that cost the lives of at least 500,000 Algerians. It brought the tumultuous exodus of 1 million French settlers from Algeria, and it brought France itself to the brink of civil war. There are two players in the game. One player is the FLN, who will have units of 3 qualities. Moussabilines, which are part-time fighters with small arms, Mujahidins, which are regular fighters, and Zonal Commandos, which are seasoned fighters and the best armed. The other player is France, who will have both regular and elite regiments of infantry, mechanized paratroop, and foreign legion units. Regular units are big, about 2,500 soldiers, while the smaller elite Javelot regiments are 1,250 men. The game itself contains 3 distinct factions: political, insurgency, and military, and it is the balance of these 3 factions that is a key to victory. Politics are driven by chits, which alter 4 parameters: FLN structure, Algerian population, Pied Noir feelings, the French settlers in Algeria, and French public/government. Insurgency and counterinsurgency actions are used to make a region pro-FLN or pro-France. Finally, the military will allow you to contest or control regions, which will affect your ability to move, recruit fighters, and conduct insurgency, counterinsurgency actions. Each player fights for control of regions through military means while also conducting insurgency, counterinsurgency actions in order to win the hearts and minds of the population. And finally, through politics, call for an end to the long and bitter struggle to receive independence or to get the Muslim and local French population to support the government in its declaration, Ici c'est la France. And that is the text on the back of the box. Now we have the game map here, the game counters, and it says here the game scale, regiments and phalanx, map scale, area map, because it's area movement. Turn scale 3 months per turn, 8 to 12 hour playing time, and it comes with a 22 by 34 inch map, 16-page rulebook, 135 counters, 209 game markers, 3 player aid charts. It is for 1 to 2 players. It is medium complexity, medium high, solitaire suitability. So that is a look at the back of the box. Now we'll take a look inside and see what you get. Our baggies and our dice, our rulebook, counter sheets, our map, and our player aid charts. We'll throw this on the side, we'll set up the map, and we'll take a look at all the components. All right, so here is the map that you're gonna get with the game, and you can see it looks a little familiar to people who played Colonial Twilight. It has that same type of vibe, and it has even more tracks to keep track of everything on the map itself. You've got your train effects on combat, search modifiers, Pied Noir feeling scale, government crisis scale, troop density track, game turn track, FLN operations point track up here, support level track, then your political chits that go across, and then the attack chart over on the right, and the FLN political cell chart, and the French operations point track down here. And then you have West Africa, Tunisia, and Morocco bordering Algeria on the sides. And everything looks pretty easy to pick out on the map, you know, as far as the different regions. It's area movement, so it's not going to be hex and counter, although this has a hex and counter feel to it. Coin has a very distinct area control feel to it. This has its area movement, area control, but it also has more of a hex and counter feel from everything I've read about it. So I kind of like that as a counterpoint to Colonial Twilight, to have a little bit of a balance, to have kind of a traditional type of war game and that more Euro feel of the coin game. But let's take a look at the counters you get with the game. We have French and Algerian units, and then we have admin counters down here along the bottom, and then another sheet of admin counters, which is going to be crucial because there's so many different charts to keep track of on the game with the political aspects of the game as well as the combat parts. But this is kind of neat here. You got Kim Al Kenger as one of the leaders for the Algerians. But that is a look at the counters that you get with the game, and really nice quality counters. We have our player aids. This is the French political chit chart. Breaks it down by year and what each of those chits will do. These are single-sided. FLN political chit chart, same thing. Player aid card here, and it gives you your operations points received, operation points cost for the following actions. And this is a double-sided sheet. And then you have your population tracks for pro FLN, pro France on the top and bottom for each of these of the different regions. I'm going to assume this is what this is for. Not sure, but we'll see when we look in the rulebook. All right, so let's take a look at the rulebook. And it starts on page 1 with the introduction, goes all the way to the background of the chits on page 17. The rules themselves only go to page 13. The scenarios pick up on 14. You take out the introduction on page 1, you get about 12 pages of rules, 11, 12 pages of rules. So not a terribly long rule book to digest, which is great. It says here the second edition has rephrased and reformatted rules. It has new map artwork and updated player aids. It also includes a population track sheet and 2 new French units. It gives you an idea as to what the update is for the second edition. Now we'll take a look inside the rulebook itself and see what is in the game. You have your game map, tells you your wilayas and regions, the terrain, major cities and communities, population numbers, game basics. So this definitely looks like it'll be fairly familiar to people who have played Colonial Twilight or any of the coin games, because it's got that vibe to it mixed with traditional war games. So really looking forward to seeing how this meshes together. Then you break down your combat units for your Algerian and your French, stacking, operations points, troop density track and garrison value markers, controller contested political chits. You got game turn phases on page 6, and then you get into your political phase. Play of political chits, Pied-Noir, feeling scale, government crisis scale, reinforcements phase for FLN recruitment, French reinforcements and replacements. Then we have the move and attack phase. You have your Maquis up here, and then you have your move and attack phase, FLN movement, supply check, structure attacks, French movement, and French attacks. Insurgency phase, the FLN insurgency actions. They can spread propaganda, they can assassinate pro-French activists, build political cells. The French counterinsurgency actions, you have French extra operations points, counterinsurgency, try to purge by interrogation, detect pro-French activists, mobilize the masses, and resettle, and then also infiltrate. And then on page 14 you get into your scenarios. You have the 1955 scenario, which is the campaign, and then the 1959 scenario, which is a shorter version that gives you just a few years of war. So if you don't want to play the full version, you can play the shorter version. Then you have the player's notes here for France and the FLN, background of political chits on page 17, and then page 20 gives you the table of contents for the game itself. So if you need to look up any of the rules, you'll know where to go. And then some advertisements for a few of the other games by Kim Kanger: Nemesis Burma, Dien Bien Phu, The Final Gamble, and Tonkin, the first Indochina War, which we've already seen on the channel. But that is a look at the rule book that you get with the game. And that is a look at everything you get inside Ici C'est la France, the Algerian War of Independence, 1954 to 1962 from Legion Wargames. It is available now, so don't miss out. If this is something you've been interested in, definitely order it now. And also, if you're a fan of Colonial Twilight from Brian Train, you may find this kind of a unique look at a familiar subject. So definitely worth checking out. But if you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.